Welcome back to my trek across the United States by train. In part one, we went from New York all the way to Los Angeles via Chicago on Amtrak's Pennsylvania, the Capital Limited, and the Southwest Chief. Now, in part two, we'll hop on the Sunset Limited to New Orleans before taking the Crescent to New York, hopefully. It should take us about 90 hours to cross the country this time around with no extra stops in between. We'll travel 3,376 miles and cross 16 states to get there. So let's get going. I thought Union Station in Los Angeles looked great during the day, but it's just as nice at night. After hanging out for a few hours in the Amtrak's Metropolitan Lounge, we got escorted right to the platform where, conveniently, the train was just pulling into the station. Shout out to sleeping car attendant Paul. He was a lot of fun on this trip, which was my first in an Amtrak sleeper.
Number 15, all the way to the big room at the end, brother.
Thank you very much, Paul. Holy jumping. And here's my room. Somehow when I booked this trip, a family bedroom was cheaper than a roomette, so I had to take the deal. But now, let's get some sleep before waking up in Arizona. And good morning. Just outside of Tucson on this beautiful morning in Arizona. Fortunately, Tucson is a place where we can get off and stretch our legs for a little bit. Now, as for the rest of this trip, unfortunately, when I was on the Southwest Chief, my GoPro either was lost or stolen. I never figured it out. So all I had for me on this side of the trip was my camera and my phone. So no steady GoPro footage from this side of the trip, unfortunately.
Get up there.
Once
Joe.
you're up there,
It's good. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, he got me on the top part.
It is
I don't want to see that. I've really been in denial.
That Amtrak French toast was awesome. Just trying it once, it immediately became my go-to option anytime I have breakfast on the train. Oh, and hello, University of Arizona. I'm also not sure what all these planes are here for. But once we left Tucson, it was time to just sit back, relax, and let the scenery take me away. And sorry in advance for the dirty windows. This is the town of Benson, Arizona. I've never seen a train station so small. That's it right there. Just a little shack. A little history on this route. This is the oldest continuously operating named train in the country. It first started in 1894 under the flag of the Southern Pacific Railroad. From 1993 to 1996, the train terminated in Miami, and then it got moved up to Orlando for most of the run from 1996 to 2005. It was the only one-seat train ride you could take to go from coast to coast, but unfortunately service to Florida was suspended after Hurricane Katrina. Who doesn't love a good truck race in the middle of the desert? But while that first one was a tie, this one we're going to lose to FedEx. I have to admit, I was pretty impressed by the scenery in this part of the trip. What do you think of the Sunset Limited? Is it really a secret? Is it a hidden gem on the Amtrak system? Let me know in the comments. I do think one of the coolest things of the family bedroom is you legitimately get windows on both sides of the car. So you get all the views for just one room. And I know what some of you might be thinking, Brian, it's the desert. There's not much to look at. But honestly, I find some of this scenery really charming considering we have nothing like this back in New Jersey. I had lunch delivered to my room, but this grilled cheese was awesome. Very tasty. Deming was another stop in New Mexico with another kind of pretty small station. We were there for maybe 10 seconds and then it was back off and running into the desert. And since I went into this trip completely blind on what to expect on the Sunset Limited, it was awesome to hear the conductors hype up Juanita the burrito lady at the El Paso train station. It got me really excited to get there, but I would be let down in heartbreaking fashion once I did. Also, it's not an Amtrak trip until you deal with some delays, which is what we run into here.
Get to the stop signal. We're going to be waiting here for some freight traffic to clear up, and also we may we are going to have to wait for train sister number 1 to depart the people. They are currently doing their station work and are about to leave as we speak.
was surprised to see how close we get to the Mexican border. I figured I'd be able to see it at some point, but I didn't think I'd be this close. As we cross over the Rio Grande, we are now in Texas, the 14th different state of this trip. And across the border is Ciudad Juarez. To the right is my train in El Paso. To the left is Mexico. It's pretty neat. Another bad luck moment for me here. I got online hoping to try some of these burritos, and Paul even gave me some money to get him a few burritos, but the person in front of me was the last one Juanita was able to sell to because she ran out. Just my luck. The thought of missing out on those burritos really bugged me for a little bit. I mean, they built up the hype so much. I guess I'll just have to take this route again someday. Have you ever had some of the burritos there? I've heard they're pretty good. And if you ever want to guess as to why they called it the Sunset Limited, maybe this is why right here. What a beautiful sunset. Unbelievable. It almost makes me wonder what it was like taking this train back in the day. Apparently the Sunset Limited was Southern Pacific's finest train. Can only imagine what it was like 100 years ago. And with sunset behind us, it's time for dinner. Lot to pick from, but I went with the Amtrak steak, and it was insanely good. I highly recommend it. In fact, dinner was so good, I forgot to take video of the dessert, which was awesome. I was so full, I went right to bed. After a good night's sleep, I woke up the next morning and we were just east of San Antonio. Another long day on the tracks is ahead of us, but unfortunately, this was a day we got some bad news about our trip from New Orleans to New York City. More on that in a little bit, because now let's do a little bit of a room tour. This lower bed folds out. And then up top, there are two bunks that fold down. One of them is small, the other is kind of big. So you can easily fit at least 3 people in here, 4 if you really wanted to, I think. And another benefit of the sleeping accommodations is you have access to the shower. It's not bad. I would recommend wearing flip-flops before going in, but there are plenty of towels, plenty of washcloths, pretty much anything you need there. And after a quick shower, I think it was time to just sit back and soak in some more scenery. I mean, why not, right? So I don't know if they do this all the time, but we pulled right into Houston and then reversed for about a mile before proceeding back east. Do they do this all the time, or was this a weird thing? let me know. Welcome to Louisiana. This is the first time in my life I've ever been in this state, so add another one to the list. Thank you, Amtrak. I thought those delays were going to be the worst part of the day, but around this point in the trip, I got a phone call from Amtrak saying that they're canceling the Crescent from New Orleans to New York. The reason was because Hurricane Ida was approaching New Orleans. It had strengthened into a Category 4 hurricane, So on one hand, I was upset because I'm not going to complete this circle trip as I had hoped, but also at the same time, now I needed to scramble to find a flight to get me out of New Orleans before the hurricane hit. I was able to at least get a flight out of there at night, and unfortunately when the hurricane hit, over 100 people were killed and the damage was over $75 billion worth. It was the second most damaging hurricane to hit Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina. You know, my thoughts and prayers go to anyone who lost a loved one during that storm. And as we're traveling through New Iberia, we come across something I don't think I've seen in person before. It seems like this train just runs right down the middle of the street. Dinner on the train, once again, was spectacular. I went with the grilled chicken this time, and once again was so full I forgot to take a video of the desserts. Darkness comes up on us quick, but now it's time to go over this huge bridge over the Mississippi River before pulling into New Orleans. While we might not be able to complete our 3,300-mile journey, this is still a memorable trip nonetheless. It made me fall in love with taking the train and was the first of many trips to come. It's kind of cool how this is the second time on this trip that I've crossed the Mississippi River, and you know, the first time I did it was about 740 miles north of here. But what a cool bridge this is. Maybe one day I'll get to see it during the day. It's a slow crawl into the train station, but while we're here, I just want to say thank you so much for traveling with me on this journey. We crossed the country once and then did it halfway coming back. It was a lot of fun, and I definitely want to do this again in the future. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, drop some comments, anything to help the channel. And I hope when the next adventure comes around the bend that you'll get on board with me. Well, not every trip goes according to plan, but almost getting stuck on the train while looking for this camera, that was a different experience entirely. My train to New York canceled, so now I gotta make the best of it and fly home tomorrow, hopefully before Hurricane Ida gets here. So we'll see how that goes, but for now, New Orleans, 2 days after leaving Los Angeles. Let's go check in and